All right, and welcome to the East County Sports Report. I'm Ramon Scott, and I'm joined by Dave Dickens of EastCountySports.com. And Dave, a couple of great ball players joining us today, and I want you to follow closely here, Dave, as we get rolling with these guys. I have a Cougar who's going to be a Matador, and I have a Monarch who's going to be a Highlander. But before everybody gets all jumbled up and starts complaining about transfers, Dave, these guys made some big news over the past couple of days with the announcement. Andy Canedo of the Monte Vista Monarchs, he's going to be going to UC Riverside, where he's going to be a Highlander. And SEBASTIan Granados of the Steele Canyon Cougars, he's going to be going to CSU Northridge, where he's going to be a Matador, Dave. So thanks for getting these guys on. A couple of friends who've been playing ball together probably 10 years at least. And they're going to be heading to the same conference when baseball season gets rolling in 2022. Don't forget, we got a whole season left with these guys who've been playing ball since their freshman year on the varsity team.
Yeah, and the good thing is I was able to, fortunate to see Andy actually pitch, I think one game, as a matter of fact, and we touched on it the last time he was on. What was that, Montgomery, Andy, I believe?
I pitched at home, Mice Field.
Yeah, and I know that Andy had as usual. I don't want to gloat too much, but Andy had a great day on the hill as always, working your magic and fanning quite a few that day, as a matter of fact. But you had a great offense behind you too. I mean, really, Monte Vista, as we spoke about earlier this year, really had phenomenal team all the way around. Everybody had returned, and for the most part, and you guys were, as far as I was concerned, you guys were picked to do something really big.
Yeah.
And SEBASTIan, I mean, Steele Canyon has been a surprise, I think, almost every year. You just never really know what's going to come out of the Cougars, but it's always going to be 150%. And you guys, you usually end up surprising people. Maybe even if you get a slow start, you guys end up surprising people at the end. I mean, we do miss the big bat of Big Billy, but we managed, right? And we managed with some great defense and definitely getting better in the pitching. And as I mentioned earlier backstage, Ramon, not only Coach Evans, but Coach Spears definitely does a fantastic job with the pitching crew out there at Steele Canyon. Even brought a couple of minor leaguers out there to assist those Cougars out there in the offseason. I thought that was, I mean, you really got to hand it to guys like that to come out, take their time, and work with these young kids and really enhance their ball playing abilities.
Yeah, for sure. SEBASTIan, talk about the start that the Cougars had. I mean, it's a little bit of a rough going, really, but some big performances too. And Dave, I can't help but remember, SEBASTIan, that game with Madison when you dueled with Becerra. That crazy 0-0 game, 11 innings, and you pitched 5 innings, had 5 strikeouts in that one, matched up against Division I bound pitcher in Becerra. Tell me about that game. That was the wildest game of the season. This one, no runs scored.
Yeah.
That wouldn't even worked in the COVID baseball.
It was crazy. It was a crazy game. Energy was intense. It was just a fun game to be playing. Kind of stressing in the moment, but it was just great competition. Madison just did great all around, defense and offense-wise. Us as well. I had a great defense behind me. Offense was, no one could basically get a hit, but it is what it is. Ended up 0-0, which is pretty good against a D1 school.
But I tell you, one thing that you guys did have that I saw at the beginning of the season in particular, and I know you won't disagree with me on this, is I tell you what, Ramon, they Sebastian can vouch for this. They had a lot of speed on those base paths, though. A lot of speed. I think with the good recipe of small ball, you guys definitely, that's how you were going to win quite a few of the games. Wouldn't you agree?
Definitely would have, honestly.
Oh yeah, Sebastian's got wheel. I mean, he's got 12 or 13 stolen bases in his career. He's probably going to steal, maybe even double digits this season, and probably a few home runs too. 5 career homers.
Did you,
and he'd already connected in that game against Montgomery.
and I was going to ask him if you wouldn't mind mentioning some. You had some underclassmen that were that ended up being some speedsters early on in the season, and if you want to mention some of them, give some accolades to those youngsters that are going to be up and coming for the Cougars.
Definitely, there's Weston Clark, speed demon, absolutely the fastest kid on the team. Then we have Alfredo Flores, class of 2021. Pretty fast as well, probably the second fastest on the team. Then Jake as a catcher, he runs pretty darn fast. Not gonna lie, he's boosted up his speed. He'll be definitely getting some back this year. There's Isaac Vargas. We had Diego Ceniceros. And last year we had a bunch of upperclassmen that as underclassmen and seniors now, those are about the fastest kids on the team.
And we got a big surprise, Ramon, that I'll let Sebastian be the one to announce that, and we're going to invite this gentleman, but we have another one, another Jake that got signed recently also that I'll let you be the bearer of the great news when we close out the show, but another Cougar getting signed up and moving on to a great school, but shifting.
We probably have them on. Jake and Weston are over there. They're in Arizona right now, Dave. Sebastian, they went out there for a tournament. They ended up with just 3 games over the next 3 days. They're just going to play some single games. They couldn't play the tournament, but Jake's over there. Weston's over there. Diaz and Medina from the Cougars are over there, Dave. Right now, we could probably get them all on there, but they're social distancing.
Exactly. No, Jesse made it a. He made it a big deal actually to me. He's been blowing up my phone for actually before you did, Ramon. The last couple of days, he said, "There's a couple of Cougars that are coming out of the den, man. You gotta get them some love." And I go, and when he mentioned the names, I said, "Jake, of course, and Sebastian, of course." Sorry, it was no surprise, Sebastian, but I mean the way you've been playing the last few years. I expected you to do something big. And with that being said, let's shift over to one of your good friends just across the way in Spring Valley, one of the top Monarchs and one of the top pitchers in the rotation, and that's in Andy Canedo. Andy, you, like we said, you didn't pitch too many games. You didn't get to play too many games, but the opportunities that you were given, you took full advantage of them, and wouldn't you say that you really were polished? I mean, you had your best stuff yet in the last couple of years that you played for the Monarchs, and you've been there, from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andy, off to a 2-0 start already when the season was halted, and a ERA under 2, 12 strikeouts, and 11 innings. Man, you were just getting rolling. I mean, we know you as a hitter, I think, for the most part. But what did you think Riverside sees? Because you're 350 hitter over your career. You've driven in 35 runs. You already hit that home run and that big win over San Ysidro this season. And Troy Percival is the head coach at Riverside, and you look at Andy. Sebastian. Andy only looks tall in the video here, right? Andy's 6'4", 5". I don't know how tall he's gonna get, but Andy, man, I'd have to think about trying to make you be a pitcher, man. At this point,
Yeah.
what do you feel like? We got to know the whole season with you, but what happened with Riverside? How'd that all go down?
Absolutely.
So I was a sophomore, and I got invited to a showcase. And during my pitching performance, I was lights out against the guys. So after they contacted me and they offered me right away. Like, they didn't waste any time. And then I took my time waiting to see. And then with everything that happened over the quarantine, Riverside, they offered me a full ride. So that was our best bet to go to. And although, like, I'm not going to be able to bat, they offered me as only a pitcher. So that's the only downside. But I'm looking forward to pursuing my baseball on the next level.
Sebastian, we know Andy can hit, though, too. You know, something's going to work out there maybe. But, Dave, like I said, the head coach at Riverside is a man who had almost 400 saves in his major league career. He was an all-star relief pitcher who started out as a position player, don't forget, before he was converted into a great closer. One of the greatest closers we've ever seen out here on the West Coast in our generations. Anyway, Troy Percival. So you can see Andy. Sebastian, how tall do you think Andy's going to get? He's like 6'4" now, right? Was he 6'5"?
Yeah.
6'3". I don't believe it.
Oh, come on.
6'5". 6'6". I feel like that's a little bit way too much, but I'm definitely thinking that he'll probably be 6'5".
These are buddies, but Sebastian says, man, if I could just have an inch or two of yours.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he's really he really has. Andy, I can remember when we first interviewed you. I believe it was over at Mount McGill High School in one of their photo rooms, and you had to have been at least 6'1" at that time, maybe 6'2", right? Am I about right at that time? Yeah, you definitely.
I was a sophomore. Yeah, I was about 6 foot, 6'1".
Yeah, so he definitely is. He's growing like a bean, and I'll tell you what, it's great that you can hit well, but if you're asked to do mostly pitching duties with the way you pitch, I think I don't think you're going to really have any qualms about it in the long run. You end up in who knows, end up in AA, AAA, and then you never know from there. So. I don't think you'd complain if you ended up pitching in the big leagues,
No.
unless you're, or maybe who knows, maybe you'd be a DH at one point in a big game. You never know.
That'd be cool.
It's got to be part of the attraction.
As long as I get to the next level, that was my goal since the beginning.
Yeah. Sebastian, any pitching coach with any brains would love to have a guy of Andy's physique. To work with. I mean, I can see why they. Yeah.
I even tried recruiting Andy to come to Steele Canyon. That'll be a big old piece for Steele right there. Great pitcher, great hitter. Try to get him to come over, but didn't budge.
But how did you like facing him? Did you enjoy facing Andy?
Yeah, it was great. It was fun.
It's always fun.
Two boys facing each other. They grew up playing. What else can you ask for, honestly?
Yeah, I believe Sebastian doubled off Andy, but Andy, you K'd him too, right? I mean, it's gone back and forth, right?
Yeah, definitely came back with 2 strikeouts, 2 changeups on the third. He just got me. All I could do was just tip my hat.
Like I said, Dave, go ahead, Andy. Let me hear it.
We've been playing with each other since we were 11 years old.
Yeah,
I remember when we played travel ball. He was the first person I warmed up with in travel ball. 11 years old.
That's so sick. And now, Dave, after another season, I don't know how I didn't look at the schedule. If these guys are going to end up on the schedule next year. In fact, we just got the information today about practice. I think you guys, I don't know if you saw it. I think you guys start practice on March 12th. So it's a few months away. But that's great news that we kind of have our dates set. As we've got some really good news over the last couple of days with the pandemic. Things are looking better. But anyways, Dave, so these guys have been playing against each other, playing with each other for 10 years. It's going to continue on, not only past next year if they meet each other or not, but 4 years in the same conference in the Big West. Riverside, Northridge, we got a story, really. I mean, something your dad would just love to write about if they faced each other in college. And these are good programs, established programs. We think of them as Big West, but the history of these programs, both schools have won a pair of Division II national championships. And, of course, Sebastian, we talked, Dave Serrano, pretty good head coach that took over there this year. The team was off to a 7-0 start, and then they were 10-5. And interestingly, Dave, we had earlier this season, actually, I think it was during the pandemic, when Braden Ross announced that he'd be going to Cal State Northridge. So Sebastian and Braden have already communicated about possibly moving together at college. Sebastian, right?
Yeah, definitely.
He's a good kid. He's a good kid, I'll tell you that. And he's a outstanding player. I'm sure he seems like a real eloquent, outgoing type guy too. Team player, if you will.
Definitely.
He's
just a great teammate all around, honestly. Just brings a positive energy every time in the dugout. He's just an amazing teammate.
I think it'd be awesome to have someone with similar ties, especially the Eagles and the Cougars, that make you feel maybe a little bit more comfortable early when you get to college if you guys can hook up.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea, Dave. Also want to mention, Dave, I asked Sebastian before the show, but the Matadors currently have an Eagle on their roster. I believe he was maybe a redshirt junior this past season. Maybe he's going to be a senior next year. I don't think Sebastian's met him, but you might remember CIF champion Michael Cartwright, who played on that Eagle championship team. He was on the all-academic team in the Big West this season. He's well-traveled. He was headed to USD, then Southwestern, then Yavapai, and then he ended up at Northridge. So anybody out there listening, I mean, hey, sometimes it's the road well-traveled that can get you to where you want to be. Right now, Sebastian's heading there right after after the school year. We still got a whole crazy to think we're just beginning school, Dave.
Well, and my question actually for both Andy and Sebastian was, now if you guys play, because I know that it's grown in the last several years after talking to Coach Frank Coy of the Matadors. Did you participate in the Legion? Because I know the Legion picks up a lot of East County players a lot of times too in this kind of situation where you're not able to play high school ball. Did you guys ever play for the Legion or either one of you?
Not at all.
Yeah, I played American Legion.
I never got any chance.
Yeah, American Legion, that's right.
Yeah, I played that for 2 years.
Now, was Coach Coy coaching that team at the time, or was it somebody from the East County?
No, it was one of our JV coaches.
But a real big deal, Ramon. After talking to Coach Coy, he really believes in it. He said it's really grown too. Especially with what's going on with the pandemic, a lot of folks and here's the thing about the American Legion is it doesn't cost the parents a penny. It's a really good deal. And correct me if I'm wrong, Andy, but it's a really good deal as far as the way they set that up, and can definitely assist in enhancing your baseball experience, and being that it doesn't cost you a fortune like a lot of that travel ball does. I think it really makes for an affordable option in this situation, especially during a pandemic.
Yeah, because it's extra baseball that kids can play and get better over summer when the season's not on.
Dave, your dad, that American Legion ball used to actually be very, very big back before these guys were born. And your dad covered it famously every summer before it kind of fizzled out, kind of towards the end of the 90s, I want to say. Maybe it was even a little bit earlier, but I'm pretty sure throughout the late 70s and I want to say through the 80s, your dad wrote about American Legion ball and was on the phone with all the coaches as the teams played and traveled around. And you mentioned Coach Coit. I want to mention to you, Dave, we talked about Sebastian out there with some of his teammates out in Arizona. Ringer threw a big game today. They were playing some games up in Salt Lake City. They actually went up for a tournament, and they are, I believe, 4-0 and now in a single elimination format. And Ringer pitched a real good ball game today, is what I heard. So, Sebastian, go ahead, Dave.
You guys both know Tommy also too. I mean, you faced him so quite a few times, I'm sure. Tom Ringer.
Yeah, great pitcher all around, honestly. I love his confidence when he's up there. He's just dominant. He has nasty stuff. He's a really good pitcher.
Did you have a game today, Sebastian, in that event you're doing? It looks like you did, obviously. I mean, unless I black on in your practices.
Nah, yeah, I actually had a game today. The game was at 8:30.
In the 8:30 in the morning.
No, actually PM. Sorry about that.
That's why I was saying. That's why I was saying that he was going to make
this. Look how late it is over there. It's 11 o'clock, isn't it?
That's why I was saying about the show, and he said, "Yeah, I should be able to make it." That's why I was kind of joking around about the time and everything, and
how did we do?
And where he's at.
Did you have a score? Great, honestly.
You did great. It was punctual, everything. Gave me time to get home and actually set up and stuff. Hotel, my bad.
How'd the game go? How'd the game go?
Went pretty good. We ended up winning 10 or 9-2.
What happened? Any of our guys do anything?
Jake Entrican, first at bat, double. Second at bat, got walked. Weston Clark, RBI single, and then walked. And then me, I got pegged, and then I got a deep fly ball and left.
See, I'm hinging on his in COVID, prep sports, Dave. I mean, that was like some big news right there because it's not the only action that's going on in these two baseball tournaments that I've heard of. Andy, what are you doing to stay busy to keep your baseball going right now? What's going on?
Yeah, a lot of weight training. A lot of weight training.
Yeah, you could tell actually because he is growing upwards. I mean, he's got the height now. It looks like, like we pretty much all mentioned, you've got the perfect build for a major league pitcher if you make it that far. Which hey, you never know. You never know. And I'm not saying I'm setting you up for. I think I'm setting you up for something that is you work hard enough, you could easily make it that far. I mean, and a lot of these farm systems, especially San Diego. I mean, we've had one of the better farm systems in the last several years, and you look at the product they got out there on the field now, and I mean, the last two games we don't want to really discuss that, but other than that,
again, I think.
Hey, we split with the Dodgers. We got to take care of the D-backs. They're
we lost 5-1. No big deal. I wouldn't sweat it right now, but here's one for you, Dave. You mentioned the Padres. You mentioned Andy's going to go to Riverside, and this is going to be a trivia question. And I'm going to add I don't know if Andy knows. I know, Dave, if I give you the right clue, you'll get it. But Andy, who's a great Padre pitcher that was playing, I think he passed away, several years ago now, but he played on the Padres, and he played on Riverside's first national championship team in Division II.
Oh, really? Who's that?
Yeah, Dave. Now, Dave, this Padre pitcher was a real flaky guy, and he played on the '84 championship team. And he was a real.
Was he a side? He wasn't a side
guy.
He wasn't a sidearm, was he?
No, but he was a real good pitcher, a pretty good pitcher in this organization. Eric Shaw.
Yes.
Eric Shaw went to Riverside, Andy, and he was pretty good. But when you get there, you're going to want to. I don't know if you've talked to Coach Percival at all, but
no.
He's a pretty. He was an awesome pitcher, man. I want you to listen to this guy and emulate him, maybe, because he really could mow him down for the Angels. I mean, almost 400 major league saves. Man, this guy really had a great career. And like I said, I believe he was like an infielder, a third baseman, second baseman, kind of playing the same positions you do sometimes out there. And then they converted him into a pitcher, and he became an all-star reliever. In fact, he had 7 saves in the playoffs when the Angels actually ended up winning the World Series over the Giants. And he got the save in Game 7 of the World Series.
He ended up being a starter, though.
Oh, he did it all, but I mean...
He ended up being a starter at the end and didn't... I think Pete Rose, a bad stat for him, but famous...
You mean Eric Shaw. I was talking about Percival.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Eric Shaw, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead with you.
Yeah, Eric Shaw, he gave up that, 3,000th hit, I think, for Pete Rose.
Pete Rose's record hit, 41.92.
Yep.
And Eric Shaw. This is what you don't want to do, Andy. When Pete Rose got the base hit to set the all-time record in Major League Baseball for the most hits by one player ever, Eric Shaw, they were having a big ceremony. Everybody comes out to congratulate him. Eric Shaw sat right down in his butt on the mound and watched it. So you want to, show a little bit more class than that. So, Sebastian, what are you going to do, you think, at Riverside? I mean, you're a guy with some power. 5 home runs in your career so far, 28 RBI. But like I said, you pitched those great 5 innings against Madison. We know what you could do. That game, I mentioned your home run against Montgomery. You also had the save in that game. Davey had a home run, a double, and a save, 2 innings pitched. What are you going to do at Riverside? Do you know? Do you have an idea? Do you have a plan or a goal?
Hopefully, come in strong as a freshman, try and become the ace, just mowing guys down on the mound, and hopefully I get the chance to be a two-way. They've been talking about putting me somewhere where I'm not going to put as much strain on my arm, because I'll definitely be pitching a lot for Northridge. So, depending on what position I get put in, I'm going to just grind, practice, just keep the same energy going, and just become the best player I can be.
So you quite possibly could be more than likely in the starting pitching rotation.
Definitely.
Andy, what if I had to make you pick one for Sebastian? You can't get out of this. Would you work him when he arrives on campus? Would you tell him to grab his glove or grab his bat?
Glove.
Yeah, he wants to see him as a pitcher too. Maybe because Andy knows he's going to be a pitcher, wants to have a pitcher's duel with Sebastian. He doesn't want to end up having to face him with a big game on the line. Now, let's be fair, Matt, I believe Northridge been a little bit better over the last couple of years in the standings than Riverside. But like I said, both schools have had a lot of baseball success over the years. So I don't know. Now that I think about it, I think I want to see them match up, Dave, pitcher against hitter in a Big West game twice a year.
I don't know. I almost think I know it would change now, but or it couldn't change now. But boy, wouldn't that have been something if you guys would have been in the same rotation on the same squad? Boy, that would be there could be some lights out there. That'd be a scary tandem for sure. Maybe like a Lament and. Well, I would have said Paddock, but he yeah.
Yeah, our 2 guys just lost Dave back to back. I mean, everybody's all excited over the first couple of weeks, and now we're back to Paddock.
No, Lament's still fine. I think Paddock is too. We did play the best. Here's the thing, not to get off topic, but the Dodgers are the best team in baseball. I hate to say that, but it's not like we lost to a AAA team. I mean, we look at the hitting lineup, and then Betts, going 4 for 4. I mean. Look at the lineup that we had to face, okay, and then you can kind of adjust who we have, and I don't put it all on Paddock. I mean, yeah, you also have to hit yourself, and we went into a little bit of a slump, but we got a great team, just like you guys are both, I think, headed for some great teams. You're coming from some great teams. Boy, did I wish both of you could have played a full season this last spring. I know you were both headed for the playoffs for sure. Not to take anything away from Steele Canyon, but I definitely, after watching Monte Vista, we're definitely on their way to a top seed for especially coming from their division for sure. I just. From what I saw, they were hitting on all cylinders. Great defense, great pitching, great relief, great bats. I mean, any way you look at it, even great behind the dish. You could definitely agree with that, right, Andy?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And then let's give the coaching staffs both their due too. I mean, we always talk about how great Santana, all the legends they have over there, but we got some great staffs on in Monte Vista. I mean, they, you know what? Greg New has been building that team for the last 4, 5 years, about five
Yeah.
years, and where you guys have come from compared to just a couple of years ago, is just amazing. He did an amazing job. So my hat's off to him. And then Steele Canyon has been. You take a big bat out of your lineup. Boy, you guys got some speed on the base pass. I mean, you guys find a way to win, and I think that comes from not only the players but having a great coaching staff. And you guys, again, you got some former great. I mean, Spears was a great major league player himself. Coming up through the minor leagues, did a fantastic job. I mean, he said he forgot more stories that my dad wrote about him. He wrote so many about him.
Yeah, he was one of the best pitchers around these parts. Went on to have beyond that, but as a prep man, he was really outstanding. I mentioned earlier that Andy had that home run against San Ysidro. Sebastian, I want to ask you about the game, though. We lost to San Ysidro, and you went up against another friend of yours, in Jesus Tellez. Tell me about that. Tell me about that game.
San Ysidro, a bunch of those kids I grew up playing with as well in TJ. A bunch of kids from TJ, just grew up with them since I was little. Jesus Tellez actually goes by Paco. Just a great friend of mine, great pitcher. Has a great curveball. The guy was striking out at the beginning of the game with his nasty combo, and then decides to leave me a fastball hanging and just decided to take advantage of it and go yard with it. Try to put my team up. Unfortunately, we couldn't get through it and actually come clutch, but it's all good. And we just gotta flip the page and go get the next team.
So, Dave, we kind of can say the Cougars, they're in the bigger division. They've had some other success. Remember, they won that GMC tournament, the division of the GMC tournament back in 2019. But the Monarchs beat San Ysidro. The different pitching going on in those games, but the Monarchs beat San Ysidro, I believe, in that game when Andy hit that home run. So I want to get this straight. I might have said the wrong. Did I say be of interest to both these guys who are seniors? Maybe we can ask them about school, how that's starting or what day, if they're rolling on that. But practice can begin. Dave, these dates just came out today, so we're breaking some news here. It's been announced, but March 13th, baseball practice can begin. The first game would be on March 20th, with the last date for the section finals would be June 19th. Dave, also at the same time, is going to be prep boys and girls basketball. We knew that, but I also want to announce that the dates for football also came out today.
February.
And football practice can begin on December 12th, and the first games will be January 8th. We kind of knew that when we talked to Coach the other night, but
Coach Cobbs,
it's official now, yeah. And the section finals will be March 19th, 26th, and or April 2nd. So there's a bunch of dates here. Just kind of want to announce that. Even though we got these guys here, it's kind of news.
And you, I'm sure you probably heard that too, Sebastian. That Steele would be playing Granite Hills football twice, actually,
Yes.
this season. Which, even maybe even if you're not even a football fan, going to a Steele Canyon Granite Hills football game is probably the game of the year. Whether it be the first one or the second one, whether it be at Steele or at Valley Stadium. It's definitely two great teams that square off, and just to watch those two masterminds try to come up with a better scheme than the other is really amazing. And now we have Coach Burton that came from Granite Hills, moved over to Steele, so it ought to be real interesting. We're pretty excited about it, and I'm sure you as a student also, and as a sports guy, period, you're probably going to definitely want to tune in live to both of those games.
Oh, they'll go. You gotta go to those games.
Intense. those games get super intense. Honestly, it's just the best games you can ever go to. Honestly,
Well, we're hoping. We even put in a couple of words ourselves with. We happen to have Rob Treadwell, the owner of Al's Sports Shop in Santee, and hopefully we're trying to come up with you got the Hamashaw helmet, you have the Tony Burner Cup. So we were thinking, there's got to be one for Granite Hills and Steele Canyon. So you know, our first thought, and I know Ramon commented on it too. Maybe a Burton Cup. After I mean that we all know how that gentleman played. Whether you're a Cougar or an Eagle, that guy was one heck of a football player.
No, he's a pitcher too, Dave.
And a phenomenal pitcher.
If you ever go, they go to Granite Hills out by the bullpen. They have a little street sign that says like Will Burton. I don't want to get it wrong, but it's Will Burton Way, Street, Road. Kind of like a memento.
But I know, a special trophy. I mean, just because they've squared off, you guys have squared off so many times now. It really is, I think, as of late, more of the rivalry than Valhalla and Steele. I just think that those and they're being that they're great friends too. That also plays a part, but should be great. Didn't want to touch on football too much, but it's just the dates. We're going to have a lot of overlapping with athletics due to COVID, but hopefully by that time we've gotten through flu season. I think that's the idea behind it, is to get through the flu season. That's why they don't want to start in November or December. Hopefully these scientists, CDC, finally gets it right so we can have no breaks in any of our programs, and that you guys can get some more playing time in. And before I let you guys go, I'm going to start with Sebastian. Other than the athletic program, what made you choose the school you chose, and what do you plan on majoring in? Do you have a plan?
yeah, I love the school. It felt like home. First off, academics is great. I have a lot of options in mind for like majoring. I've been thinking about business management, law school, and then I was thinking of being an environmental engineer, but that just went down the drain. Thinking that engineering and baseball don't mix well together. I'll be mixing labs during the spring, which won't mix well. So I decided to drop that. So far, I've been thinking about law school and business management.
So do we need to send you maybe an ECS gavel engraved with your name? Good luck. Give you a little gavel.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
And then also, I just wanted to let you let the cat out of the bag too on the good news about Jake as well.
Yeah, I'm proud to announce for him. Jake Entropin has committed to Point Loma Nazarene. I'm very proud of him. Great buddy of mine. Well, great teammate as well. Catching me behind the dish, getting me calls, and all that good stuff. So I'm really proud of him for making this commitment with Point Loma.
I'm sure you're gonna miss having him catch for you and
One more year.
No, I'm saying after that. I mean, he's definitely going to be greatly missed. I'm sure you wish you could have taken him along with you, but I'm sure he's happy to be local too. At Point Loma.
You're playing in the most beautiful ballpark in America.
Definitely.
And then shift over to one of the finer pitchers from the East County as well. Andy, what are your plans as far as majoring? Besides baseball, and what made you choose Riverside?
For majoring, I want to major in business and math, because ever since I was a kid, I've always loved math. So for my first one, I wanted to do business, but for my secondary, I want to do math. And for choosing Riverside, I went to like a lot of like virtual tours, and I saw how the school is and where it's at. It's like a lot of people know it as a small school, a very hidden school, but I feel like it won't be overwhelming and too filled of students and stuff like that. So I really like that about the school. And there was a lot of classes, and just the overall feel of the campus felt like I should go there, that it was meant for me to go there.
So it definitely feels like home. Like that's going to be your home away from home.
And the baseball field too. Baseball field's nice.
Is it now? Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this: is it as manicured as well as? Oh, hold on. Is it manicured as well as James Davis keeps his Granite Hills field? Because we all know how perfect and how well he takes care of that diamond. Is it pretty close or even better?
Maybe even better.
Wow, that's a great field. Then.
Well, the Plex in Riverside is pretty famous little ballpark. I mean, it's been close to a single A ball games back in the day. It's kind of not exactly new, but it's been kind of revamped a little bit. So it's pretty nice. The Plex, where Riverside plays, Riverside Complex.
Well,
Sports Complex, I believe.
The reason I mentioned the Granite Hills field is because I'm sure they both played there, and we all know how James feels about that field. And I've never seen somebody take such great. Frank Coit's almost he's right on the cusp, but Coach Davis he loves a good baseball field, a perfect baseball field for all you all to come on, and whether you're a visitor or home team, he definitely takes care of that field. Great field to play on. I'm sure you both can agree as far as that goes too. But congratulations to both of you and your accomplishments and the announcement, Jake. We got to get Jake on too.
Is he there right now? How many people in your room?
Actually, in my hotel, me and Jake didn't get to get the same hotel, sadly. So he's not with me as of right now.
We'll get him on. I got a late call from Jesse actually this afternoon, and he asked me. He said, "What can you do for Jake? What can you do for Jay?" I said, "We can do the same exact thing we're gonna do for these fellas tonight." We
got another year. We got another season with these guys for sure.
But we'll get actual.
Division I guys already committed, and they're going to be playing their senior years. I mean, these guys are going to have monster years.
Live action to see you guys play live again. It's going to seem like it's been 5 years the way we haven't had any live sports.
You guys like watching baseball games also? If you like watching, you watch some games and stuff. Been
watching the Padres a lot, honestly. Been a little disappointed in some of the losses, but what can you do?
I think it's awesome, Dave. The fact I just want to mention, because, like I said, Sebastian's out there in Arizona right now playing in a tournament. Okay, we're in the pandemic, so things were starting to kind of work our way back. I want to mention also, I mentioned that tournament in Salt Lake City, Dave. I don't know if you caught this, but 2 nights ago was the first prep football game in the country. It was played 2 nights ago in Utah. Harriman played. They lost, but they played a football game with fans.
Oh, they played Christian a couple, or was it Christian or Helix that they played a couple?
They played Helix. I just want to mention that they did play a high school football game on Tuesday night in Utah. It was the first game of the season in the whole country. So we're getting back to normal. We have had some great news over these last few days. 3 straight days of less than 100 cases per 100,000. If this continues now, that takes them off the state watch list. And if it continues for 14 more days, I believe schools can kind of apply. It's mostly smaller schools and private schools that could open very, very soon, possibly sometime next month, with public schools down the line a little bit further. But the news is really good, Dave.
It is great news. It is great news. The only news that I think they need to get on the same page, as I mentioned before, though, we need to get this NCAA. We need to get this college football. We need to get this. We need to get that ironed out. It's either you play or you don't play. We're all on the same page. Yeah. We can't have this. This league's going to play in this league, but we're not going to play. I think that's
It's going to be the biggest conferences, Dave. About 50 teams are going to play college football in just about a month. Yeah, 50, the three biggest conferences. There's no reason. It doesn't matter about these other conferences. They don't want to invite them to the national championship anyways. So let's let these guys go. They're going to see each other. They're friends, but now they'll get to see each other beyond that. And twice a year they can hook up. When the teams come in on the weekend to play, they can go out for some pizza or something. And it's going to be awesome to see them together, Dave. Thanks for getting this show together, Dave, with Sebastian Granados of the Steele Canyon Cougars and, of course, Andy Canedo of the Monte Vista Monarchs. Dave, great job.
We look forward to seeing you guys play another year, your final year at high school too, and I expect great things out of both of you, whether it be from the bat or from your arms. I mean, you guys are all around great athletes, great individuals. It's really a pleasure to talk to you guys after games, whether it be through text, whether it be live on this forum. It's been a pleasure so far. Watching you guys grow up and just improve your craft, and it really means a lot to us too, as being the local gurus, if you will, of the baseball coverage and football coverage in the East County. I think the East County gets lost in the shuffle sometimes, so we appreciate what we can do for you guys to shed some more light on it and get you guys some more time, some more recognition, some more eyeballs, whatever we can do to get you guys your due, because a lot of great baseball players especially come out of East County.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. It's going to be a great season. It's going to be here before you know it. All right, Dave. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
For the East County Sports Report, I'm Ramon Scott. Good night.
Thanks, guys.